Hello, Usha ma'am. Good evening.
Namaste. Good evening. How are you doing?
Namaste. Thank you so much for joining us in our channel today. I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. It's an absolute pleasure to be here to be able to share my thoughts with you and your viewers.
Thank you so much. We have Ms. Usha Ramaswamy with us here today. Namaste, ma'am. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Usha Ramaswamy. I'm the Vice Principal Senior School at the Sri Ram Universal School, Hyderabad.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. It's a pleasure to have you here. We are just going to take a quick few minutes to pick your brain on some of the important topics that we would like to hear from the leadership point of view.
Thank you. And it's great to be able to share what actually happens inside the school with the viewers.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, ma'am. So one important question that I want to discuss today is on the screen time, and it is a common feeling and a collective thought process among parents also that after COVID times, the number of hours typically a kid spends in front of a screen has increased drastically. And we also know that through various research work, that how screen time is affecting children in various aspects in their learning and their behavior and so on. So I would like to hear from you on how do you see that, because you've been having a long stint in the school and you've been observing kids for quite a long number of years, I suppose, probably multiple decades. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Go
So,
ahead.
So I want to say that I have been with schools for school systems for the past at least 25 years minimum. And with the Shriram schools, I have been there for the past 21 years. So that does give me some insights into how children are thinking, how children are behaving. And like you rightly pointed out, post COVID, there has been a dramatic increase on in the usage of screens by children. And we are seeing its repercussions in the classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Attention spans have dwindled. And when I say dwindled, it is really very short.
Okay.
And children find it difficult to focus on anything for more than a few minutes. There is this constant need to be stimulated because they are used to that dopamine rush all
Simulation.
the time, and that is seen in the classrooms as well. We have spoken to parents multiple times, especially in senior classes, to say, please refrain from giving them phones. But I think it's a devil that's gone out of control. And parents having given the phones for, let's say, safety, security reasons, with both parents working, we do want access to the child, want to know what the child has been up to or has the child reached home. But that's not the only use that the children are making of their devices. And it's very challenging today for both parents and educators to get a rein in on how the child is using the device, how much time the child is spending on the device. And thanks to the fact that social media, particularly reels, 30-second reels, which delivers
Oh,
dopamine hit after dopamine hit, is how it's stimulating the mind and keep the algorithms which have been designed to keep children hooked forever is
yeah.
taking a great toll on children, and I
Yeah.
think also on adults, by virtue of the fact that I always say that parenting today is amongst the most challenging tasks that has ever it has been. And with working parents, work hours spilling into home hours, with us trying to balance what is happening at home with what's happening in at our workplaces, and with WhatsApp and other social media platforms coming into our lives all the time, I think it's very, very difficult today to bring up children, both from the school perspective as well as from a parenting perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we are facing day in and day out. As a parent, as a coach, so I get to interact with multiple kids and both the capacities. As a parent, I do see that firsthand how kids easily get distracted. And as a coach, I time and again I hear that parents complaining, concerned about, right, how their kids are getting into all unnecessary things without focusing on studies. And we at EQ Shala especially focus on empowering teenagers starting from say 7th grade onwards to focus on things that matters to them the most, become more self-aware, and build on their emotional intelligence to regulate their emotions well. Because underlying, if you see why all these things are happening, it is an unregulated emotions, I would say, right? So when the emotions are not regulated, and when we are not in touch with our own emotions, what happens is we don't know what we are doing. Probably the kid is coming home tired, right? But without even we becoming aware that we are tired, we tend to pick that gadget and we are thinking that it's a break, but it gives too much overload to our brain than actually giving an actual break. Yeah. Thank you for sharing insights that is happening in a classroom. I could imagine how difficult it is when the attention span is only few minutes and you got to teach so many subjects, and kids spend almost a good chunk of their day in the school. Yeah.
I think you're doing stellar work in that area where you're focusing on how devices are impacting children's lives and what needs to be done in order to regulate it. Like you rightly pointed out, it is a need that has not been met, and I guess as a society, the responsibility on all of us to see
Definitely.
what is it that we are doing incorrectly and what needs to change. And I think as parents and as adults, we need to walk the talk. If we are
Exactly.
saying children need to be off from their devices, are we away from our devices? Are we putting it off? Are we making this effort to make eye contact, or are we multitasking when we are at home? Multitasking, every research says, is a myth, but
Correct.
we all indulge in it thanks to the lifestyle that all of us are embracing today, and that does take its toll. So, am I completely switching off from my work when I come home? Is a question that every adult needs to ask so that they are able to demonstrate what they are telling their children.
Absolutely, ma'am. And also, teenagers, one of the they learn in different formats. Of course, not just teenagers, all children, right? More than what they hear, they also learn effectively through what they see, uh,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. And parents, adults around them are the first role models. And
absolutely.
and as a kid, I know I tried to emulate my mother right from when I was this little kid, trying to copy everything that she does. And I'm sure it's no different today when teenagers or children see their parents on the phone. It also, that is a signal that it's
Correct,
okay. So that
correct.
is what they are taking back. And therefore, when we say don't do, but we continue to do, it doesn't work.
Correct. Absolutely. Thank you for highlighting that point, that how we need to be mindful on setting as an example, as a role model to them. Even though we tell all the good advices with all the good intention, it might not work unless they see good examples around. Yeah, well said, ma'am. So tell me more on generally parents, we as parents are not aware of what's going on within the classroom. You touched upon a point where the attention span is less, and you want to highlight a couple of more things that you see as how it has impacted the children behavior. Yeah,
I want to say that the fuse levels of children seems to be very short.
hmm.
So they are getting irked by very small,
Things.
minor things. Okay. Somewhere the various challenges that are going on online, they seem to be making an impact on children. There is this greater need for acceptance in social groups or peer groups. And
Yeah,
there is also this tendency to leave out someone just so that others will accept me. So uh, instead of being outstanding, children are very, very apprehensive about standing out. So, which could be a reason why most of them tend to follow the herd mentality,
Oh,
where
yeah.
everyone wants to converge rather than diverge. They are very afraid of doing something that, within quotes, might not be accepted by their peers. And that is leading to emotional dysregulation for sure. So, I would also place this as a fallout of the content that they are watching. Also, sometime back, I read this and it worries me. As a kid, if I went to school and I had a fight with someone, I'd come home and there would be this chance to forget it. But today, our kids continue their social life online. So
Mm.
even when they are home, they have not cut off, switched off, or moved away. So it continues through the evening. Maybe if the child has not got away from the device even at night, that's the only thing in the head. The next morning, when the child comes to school, pressure cooker. And that
Ah,
continues to build up. So today's, uh, particularly teenagers, the grade middle school children, are carrying a baggage of emotions continuing and not ending. So, what happens at home continues at school, and what continues at school goes back
cycle.
home. So, it's a vicious cycle, and it's difficult to break.
Absolutely. As you were telling each and every word, I was like, so much, it was like a reinforcement for me on, hey, continue what you're doing and continue to empower teenagers on the emotional intelligence skills. Yeah, absolutely.
I think today the most important skills that we as school educators and you as adults and educators need to impart to our children is the ability to connect and then disconnect
Yeah,
and not take everything to heart.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that is what will help build tenacity and resilience in our children. Uh,
absolutely.
we don't allow our children to get bored. We
Mm-hmm,
are
mm-hmm.
forever engaging them in class after class, during school hours or after school hours. We are also engaging them in multiple things because, A's child is doing it, therefore my child also needs to do it. So there is structure after structure. There is no scope for, within quotes, boredom.
Yeah, unstructured learning, all right. Just the way they just explore and learn, and as you said, see, not just that comparison. Maybe in few cases there are comparisons, and there are a few cases where parent don't know. Hey, how do I make sure that the kid does not get into gadgets? In that, better I'll put them into classes after classes after classes. That way, they are busy. Getting in something useful into their mind. That's the thought process behind, as far as I'm hearing from parents. But actually, what happens is, no, there's too much of overload that's happening to the kid, and the kid is completely detached from the emotions then. So, not even aware of what's happening, and on a pedestal always, and then they feel like that small moment or trigger that they're waiting for to just burst. Uh, yeah, that is what's happening.
Yeah, it's
Sadly.
difficult for children also today when they have so much on their plate. It's like they are at a buffet where they are taking everything that's available without picking and choosing. And if I've chosen three things and I should put back one thing, that regulation is not happening.
Yeah, I mean, their brain is not also, thanks to neuroscience, we are also able to understand and appreciate that some of the important, some parts of the brain, like the prefrontal cortex and all, is still developing. Till the age of 24 is what the research says, which means that they need support and guidance on various aspects like regulation, forming structure, and following through things in a methodical fashion, right?
Correct.
We cannot just put them, like as you said, in a buffet and say, okay, do whatever you want and take everything that you want. Yeah, certainly. Thank you so much for all these insights.
Pleasure.
We are able to understand now a little bit more on what's happening inside the classroom. And certainly we'll be able to empathize more on what you as leaders in education field you're playing. such a pivotal, important role within the classroom to empower each and every kid. So, to conclude, what are the top three things you would like to leave with parents today?
Hmm. Okay, three things only.
We can go on and on.
All right.
Happy to
Okay.
hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. One, trust your child fully, but never say never. Never say that my child can't do this or will never do this.
Mhm.
Fact is, children are in environments with their friends. And when they are with their friends, they sometimes act in a manner that they might never do when they are at home. So uh, it's important to trust children, believe what they're saying, but at the same time, know that they could also make mistakes.
Right.
So be aware of that.
Hmm.
Second, and I think I would be repeating myself, but I want to share this, that are you giving your children undivided attention? So, very important that when we tell them that you need to focus, we need to look at the mirror, look at ourselves to see, are we doing the same thing? Are we focusing with the focusing on whatever we are supposed to do? Suppose it's a conversation with the child. Am I doing that, or am I still doing chatting and ha bolo bolo? That's something that I do want parents to know, because that's what comes back into the classroom. Okay. The third thing I want parents to know is that nothing beats authentic conversation. Nothing beats engagement the old fashioned way. So, a great game of Ludo or Carom, or simply sitting across the table. And this has been something that I've been thinking about quite a bit. When my mom was there, she would make a shell piece or grate carrots so that she could make carrot halwa. The point was that we had to do that, engage in conversations around that, and then get that treat. We need to
Right.
bring that back, wherein that connect, because that would help what is happening in the classroom. So I think those are my 3 points, very basic ones, but they are there.
Beautiful, beautiful, ma'am. Especially, I love this point on connect. Very important, which is missing. And one great way, as you said, is to involve in collective chores, doing things together,
Correct.
where they will be. That is when, if we just ask it, hey, after coming home, how was your school? How was your day? One regular canned answer. It was good. It was great. That's all, right?
Yes. I,
Yeah.
I I would give full marks if a child says that, because most of the time children go back and say, nothing happened. And then we are being asked, what did my child do? Nothing is what the child says. So, so how can the child have spent a full day in school and have done nothing? Is
Yeah.
something that all of us need to think about. So, yeah, I think children will not answer those kind of questions, and we should be aware of it. And therefore, find different ways of engaging and to be able to connect and then get information out of them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. If not anything, one thing that we could take away is connect with our children and enable them and be a role model. Thank you so much for sharing your
Thank
insights. Namaste, ma'am.
Namaste. Thank you so much.